And thank God it's Friday. Welcome to your most authoritative show on TV. It's The Pulse. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle on your digital terrestrial TV because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 144. Remember, we are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. This afternoon, childhood cancer identified as a leading cause of death of children under the age of 19 around the world, with 1,200 children below 15 years of age affected yearly in Ghana. This afternoon, there's a conversation on efforts towards care and survival for these vulnerable ones with the inauguration of the Childhood Cancer Society of Ghana. Also this afternoon, government starts the distribution of laptops to teachers of public schools starting from senior high school. We have details of the program which the Vice President says will improve the quality of education by making the country globally competitive. Plus, on The Pulse today, we're going heavy on education. This afternoon, as a Ghanaian photographer based in New York catches the attention of social media lovers through his incredible story and a project he's embarking on. I will have a chat with him on The Pulse about his passion to build the Dekan Library and Learning Center for Ghana. With the 30,000 books he has so far gathered. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. The Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities, Dignilu, Affordable Safe Sanitation. Remember, we're also streaming live on YouTube and all our social media handles. Tweet at us with the hashtag The Pulse. My personal handle is at Nana Aisha. It's always a pleasure to host you.
Hi, this is Lexus Bill, host of Drive Time on Joy 99.7 FM. Listen, you don't have to worry if you miss Drive Time or Personality Profile. It's going to be live on our podcast page. Just log on to www.myjoyonline.com/podcast. You can listen to Drive Time, Personality Profile, and any other of your favorite shows on Joy FM on that page. You don't have to miss a show at all. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Many thanks for choosing us. Government has started a distribution of laptops to teachers of the public schools starting from senior high schools. Vice President Dr. Mamadou Bawumia, who launched the initiative, disclosed that the project is to help improve the quality of education by making the country globally competitive. He says teachers will pay 30% of the cost as government absorbs 70%. Listen.
Under the one teacher, one laptop program, each teacher at every level of education, from teacher at every level of education, from kindergarten to senior high school, will receive a laptop. Each teacher from kindergarten to senior high school. This is novel in our educational service delivery thus far in the history of Ghana. Government pays, under this program, government pays 70% of the cost of each laptop, while the teacher pays the remaining 30%. The laptop, however, becomes the personal property of the teacher and serves the benefit of providing a tool for developing the teacher's professional and personal capacity. One of the lessons we have learned as a country with the outbreak of COVID-19 is the urgent need to ensure that we blend the traditional physical contact with virtual platforms in the delivery of quality teaching and learning. We recognize that the transition will not be easy, both for teachers and learners, but we must start. And government recognizes the need to provide the needed equipment and infrastructure to support this effort in our march for progress.
Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Kwesi Opoku-Amankwa, assured the teachers that laptops will be equitably distributed to them across all levels within the school structure.
Per the arrangement, government will provide laptop to every teacher in the public school, from senior high school through junior high school, upper primary, lower primary, and to the KG. Your Excellency, the interesting thing is that the laptops and how we're going to put them to use will fall directly into your digitalization project, which we know you are so passionate about. We will work to ensure that the laptops will be put to full use.
Some teachers of the St. Mary's Senior High School, who were among the first group of teachers to receive their laptops, shared the excitement with JoyNews.
You know, with the COVID issue, COVID-19, it has brought a new dimension to teaching and learning all over the world. And using laptop, it will enhance teaching in class. I don't need to go close to my student. All I need to do is to just use a projector. Then my lesson will reach all of them in the class. So the issue of social distancing will be taken care of, and other protocols that has to do with human contact will equally be limited.
There are a lot of informations on the internet that to be able to get those informations, you need a gadget to help you to get those informations. And the laptop comes with additional informations like books and the rest. So with this, it will enhance our teaching a lot.
This laptop will go a long way to help us. At least it's going to ease our talking. Sometimes when you even pre-record what you have to teach on it and you use the projector, you set it up, be behind, and then the students can follow whatever you are teaching. So it's going to ease our talking. At least we'll not talk so much. And then with some of the things from the internet, you can easily program it in such a way that even you can leave it with them so that they can learn on their own.
We can now hear from the Education Minister, Dr. Yaw Edichim.
With the requisite ICT tools to embark upon teaching from a 21st century perspective in terms of the skills and impartation to students. You see, technology not only enhances teaching and learning, it also enables students to acquire certain skills that they will otherwise not acquire if you were teaching with only the tools that we've been using for many years. For us, at the Ministry of Education, we are grateful to the President for giving us such a wonderful opportunity. And of course, I'm also grateful to the unions for partnering us to ensure that this has become feasible in terms of one teacher, one laptop.
And from education, let's talk health. The country's COVID-19 death toll has risen to 1,052. The latest figures from the Ghana Health Service indicates that active cases dropped to 6,940. Of that number, 60 are critical and 147 severe. Head of ICU at the Koliboot Teaching Hospital and National Case Management Coordinating member in charge of severe and critical COVID-19 cases, Dr. Christian Owu, says the cases aren't looking good, especially in the ICUs, and want people to take their adherence seriously.
An issue of whether people die from COVID or not, or whether it is only those who are elderly or those who have comorbid conditions or chronic medical conditions, as we call it. With respect to the variant wave, the Delta variant, we have seen significant number of people under the age of 40 who had ended up in intensive care units, and some who have lost their life, not because they had comorbid condition, but because as viruses mutate, they become more difficult to treat, they become more difficult to control. They learn our immune system also, the same way we are trying to learn how to control them, they learn how to evade us. And with time, it becomes even much more difficult to handle. We are seeing the numbers on our dashboards. The number of people dying are not coming down, and that's not because a lot is not going into trying to treat people or control it. Adherence is important. We have said, and we continue to say, that people should continue to avoid gatherings. And if for any reason they have to be in any gathering or they have to be go out, that they should wear their masks and wear them well, handle them properly. We continue to encourage people to wash their hands and make sure that they do not continue to contaminate their hands and then transferring those illnesses to them, the virus to themselves.
Right.
But also remember that a lot of people work in offices, and these are hotspots for infection. And it is important that we protect others by encouraging them to wear their mask, because you are protecting yourself and your family. Yes, I agree with you that a lot of people are behaving as if it is gone, probably because the person has not lost anybody in their family. But you don't need to lose somebody in your family to be wiser.
Yeah.
And that is important. The other aspect is enforcement. I think that the agencies that are responsible for enforcing need to be up to their game. I think we can't continue to leave people to put other people at risk. The elderly are still significantly being affected by this.
Right.
We need to enforce those policies, those protocols, because they are as good as law in our country. If not, we would have difficulty in controlling the number of people who are going to be severely ill or the number of people who are going to die.
And even as the case is said, the Ghana Health Service is confident that the arrival of more vaccines into the country will stem the tide. The country has received additional 244,800 doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccines to complement the ongoing nationwide vaccination exercise against COVID-19. The government will take delivery of 1,229,620 Moderna vaccines tomorrow. Head of Expanded Program on Immunization at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Kwame Amponsachiano, says the rollout has been good so far and there's no vaccine hesitancy as reported earlier.
The data speaks for itself. Greater Accra and Ashanti continue to be the hotspot. In fact, for all the cases that we have, about 70% or even more are coming from these area. And that is our focus. But of course, because you want to engender demand, you'd also want to give some allocations to other hotspots like Western region, Central, Eastern, Volta, Bono East, and the other isolated hotspots that we have in the other not so hard-hit regions. But of course, we have to look at everybody, because not until everybody is protected, nobody is protected. The point is that these vaccines are earmarked for some particular people who are known. And so you would not expect queues that you would see when we are doing a fresh vaccination where people who are vaccine naive, in other words, they've never received a vaccine before, are supposed to go to centers for the vaccine. These are people we have picked up from the database, so it's earmarked. And that is why we came up with a date. Of course, some of them, interestingly, have also received those who are eligible, so to speak, who are supposed to be receiving these vaccines. Some of them have already received the first, the second. And so, of course, we have the opportunity to move on to other people who need the second dose. So it's been good. To date, we've done about, in fact, many of the regions have finished. There are one or two which are still yet to start because they had wanted to finish the Johnson & Johnson, the small doses that we gave them so that they don't get...
Okay.
An additional 1.3 million Pfizer vaccines is expected in the country by the end of this month. Meanwhile, health authorities in Ashanti region are alarmed at the spate of public misinformation and myths about the COVID-19 vaccine. Among the misconceptions is a video in circulation purporting bodies of persons vaccinated in the ongoing exercise turned electromagnetic. Deputy Health Director in charge of Public Health, Dr. Michael Roxanne fears the myth, if not addressed, could breed vaccine hesitancy among the populace and erode gains made in the fight against COVID-19. Oyem Interior is with our health desk. He has more in the following report.
In a viral social media video, a man who claims to be a police officer alleges his mobile phone sticks to his body moments after taking his COVID-19 vaccine. The source of the video is unknown, and the narration does not give information about the type of vaccine he took. The Ashanti Regional Health Directorate says it is concerned with this type of misinformation and several others in circulation. The Directorate has launched investigations into the claim and several others in public domain. Dr. Michael Roxanne is the Deputy Health Director in charge of Public Health.
We received complaint through the media of some persons becoming electromagnetic following COVID-19 vaccination. We became very much alarmed, so we set out to investigate the veracity of this. We see it as a major threat now that we are getting a lot of vaccines.
But how true is the claim COVID-19 vaccines produce electromagnetic reactions to the human body?
We got individuals who have taken the vaccine at a vaccination point and then got them to attach their phone to the upper arm. Some of them, the phone stuck momentarily and then fell off. Others, it didn't. We also made these people wash the sites of vaccination with water to remove any creams or oils that may be on the skin, and also cleaned the surface of the phone with alcohol tissue to remove any oil on it. And when they attached it, it didn't. So we concluded that the sebum, or that oil on the skin, has a sticky property that is wax and oil mixed. So that if you have sebum on your skin and you attach any material, any light material like even plastic would attach, a key will attach.
JoyNews visited some vaccination centers, including the Kumasi Metro Clinic, to test the claim on newly vaccinated people. The Regional Health Directorate says it will not lodge a complaint with the Ghana Police Service against the said officer for disciplinary action, but it wants the police administration to take interest in persons who spread false information about COVID-19 vaccine.
Anti-vaccine people always have an aim. So we wouldn't want to take that action now. The police are where they can take actions without us making any formal complaint.
From Kumasi, for JoyNews, Oyem Interior reporting.
Let's stay in Kumasi because my colleague Oyem Interior joins us via Zoom for more on this one. Oyem Interior, how serious are health authorities taking this, and how do they intend to deal with this myth?
Yes, thank you, Aisha. For the health authorities in the Ashanti region, they see this issue as a serious issue that can affect and erode the gains made as far as COVID-19 fight in the region is concerned. And so they are doing everything possible within their powers to increase, for instance, public awareness on the fact that, yes, when you take the COVID-19 vaccines, they don't come with magnetic reactions. They are safe for human use, and they are also safe to protect and save lives as far as COVID is concerned. So it has compelled the health directorate to increase advocacy and awareness on COVID-19 vaccine. Beyond what we see in this report, they've also rolled out a program to go around with information vans, educating the public on COVID-19 vaccine, its safety. And I must say that you say they are increasing this awareness because this is a time that the country and Ashanti region in that regard will be doing a lot of vaccination exercises. So if they don't encourage the public, then there's a likelihood that this would lead to public apathy, where the public will also hesitate in going for the COVID-19 vaccines. So for them, yes, it's a big deal, and it's something that is considered as important, that needs all the necessary attention it requires.
In that video, we had a few of the vaccinated folks condemning this thing we've seen in the video, and also advising the unvaccinated public to go in and take their jabs. But how are they, the unvaccinated public, taking this, or how are they responding to this particular one?
I must say that the few people that I spoke to, for instance, in the video here, in the report that I filed, are people who themselves allowed themselves to be used in the demonstration by the JoyNews team and the health directorate officials. They themselves are convinced that there's nothing like magnetic reactions or magnets in the COVID-19 vaccines. So they themselves admit there's nothing like that. And they are the people who have also pledged their commitment and support in sending the information out. So they are more or less become ambassadors. And then going forward, the health authorities will also want to use people who have gone for their COVID-19 vaccines and they are doing well as the gatekeepers to encourage more people to go for the vaccine. For those who are yet to go for the vaccine, this message of the viral social media videos appear to have taken some sort of a toll on them. Just that when you take your time to explain to them, and after we started this conversation, they are getting aware that indeed it is not true that the vaccines have electromagnetic reactions that could affect their bodies. Now they are beginning to understand that, yes, this can never be true, and they are taking the words of the health officials as a true word, and then go for the vaccine. But Aisha, let me also admit that, yes, the health authorities, in as much as they've started this conversation, they have a very long way.
All right, so we lost Ohim Interior there. I'm hoping that he will come back and complete that one. But we are talking about the myth surrounding the vaccine exercise in the Ashanti region. Authorities are worried that people keep on circulating fake news, which could bring about vaccine hesitancy, and they say we need to nip this in the bud quickly before it erodes the gains we've made in the COVID-19 fight. Ohim Interior is back. Ohim, tell me more.
Aisha, for those who are yet to be vaccinated, earlier the idea or the belief was that, yes, if a police officer has done this and is the one, telling the public of what the effect of the vaccine could be, then they believed and then took his words seemed to be true. But with the kind of education that the health authorities have stepped up, indication is that it will go a long way to ameliorate people's fear as far as the vaccine is concerned. And as I stated earlier, the health authorities believe that now that more vaccines are coming out, now that more people are being vaccinated, if they allow this information, negative information, to fester among the minds of the people, then it will go a long way to affect vaccination exercise, not only the current one, but the future ones. People will emerge. It will sort of create vaccine hesitancy among the larger population. If you look at the number of people that have been vaccinated in the Ashanti region and compared to the number, the population of the region, it means we are nowhere near even a fraction of it. So if they allow this negative message to be circulated, then it will go a long way to affect the crusade against COVID-19 and the vaccination exercise itself. I thought that this was something that is not all that serious. But when I spoke to some few people, and if they have had the opportunity to, they have come across these videos, the information that I got was that, yes, most of them had them on their phones. They showed me just that they were not prepared to share this information publicly with us. But I must say that, yes, this negative or the misinformation is already in the public domain.
But Ohiming, aside discounting this myth and also educating the public, do authorities have plans of collaborating with the police to actually arrest some of the people who churn out these videos, these fake videos, and circulate them? At least the one we saw, there was a face to it.
Yes, exactly the point, exactly the question I asked the Deputy Health Director in charge of public health, Dr. Roxanne Michael J., who says, for now, the Health Directorate is not considering any legal action or arrest or prosecution of persons behind this fake and false information being circulated in the public domain. What he did say is that the videos are out. If police who are to enforce the safety of the people, laws on the safety of the people in the system, they already have a couple of those videos. So they expect police themselves to effect arrest. But when I pointed to him that police can only take action when there's complaint or report lodged at their doorsteps, he says, yes, maybe the health authorities will consider taking action on this one. But for now, they are also concentrating on the public education to sensitize the general public to be aware of the difference between the right information and then the false one being churned out in the public. So for the officials here, what they are trying to do is to encourage more people to be aware of this situation and then be guided by the fact that people are circulating false information and stay away from this false and dangerous information that could be detrimental to their health. As far as they are concerned, COVID-19 vaccines have come to stay, and it's one of the right ways to safeguard lives. They say that if you look at the number of people who have been vaccinated in the region and compared to the fatalities that have been recorded in the region, the indication is that all the people who got vaccinated, none of them have fallen victims or have died of COVID-19 and its complications. So they are very hopeful that going forward, once they increase the advocacy, once they increase the public education, it can, diffuse whatever negative message that anybody at all want to put out in the public domain.
Oyementeria is our colleague in the Ashanti region. He's been monitoring the vaccination exercise for us. Now, the Northeast Regional Minister, Yindana Zakari, has called for the establishment of buffer zones in communities along the White Volta River in the region as an interim measure to mitigate the impact of the annual disaster caused by the spillage from the Bagri Dam and seasonal rains. The minister explains the buffer zones will serve as a neutral area in the communities where farmers and residents alike will not be allowed to farm or build residential houses. Mr. Zakari said it was time to institute concerted commitment and efforts to sustain the fight against disaster in the region. He was speaking at the inauguration of the Regional Disaster Management Committee in Nalerigu, where correspondent Ilyasu Tanko filed this report from.
The National Disaster Management Organization Act 927 establishes disaster management committees at the national, regional and district levels, chaired by the Minister for the Interior, regional ministers, and district chief executives respectively. In view of this, the Northeast Regional Coordinating Council with the National Disaster Management Organization and with support from partners sworn into office a 15-member Regional Disaster Management Committee to regulate and coordinate disaster prevention and responses in the region. The committee is made up of a regional minister as the chairperson, the regional NADMO director as the secretary, regional heads of several departments and partners, and DCEs of the affected areas. The regional minister, Yidana Zakari, speaking at the event, provided an update of the tragedy so far recorded in part of the region as a result of continued heavy downpours.
This year, residents of the Northeast region have had a bitter experience. Even before they opened the Bagri Dam, the experiences were just one too many. We lost lives, we lost property, we lost our farms, and even lost wildlife. As at the last count, we lost in total 12 lives. 8 through drowning, 3 by tender strike, and another one, unfortunately, was an incident involving man and the elephants.
Perennial flooding caused by heavy rains and the opening of the Bagre Dam in the last decade have killed over 200 people and millions of properties destroyed in northern Ghana. 11 people have died already this year, even as the Bagre is yet to be spilled. To end the annual disaster, the government of Ghana cut a sword for the construction of the Pualugu multipurpose dam project. But with the project still far from commencing, the regional minister is proposing an interim solution.
And for me, one suggestion I want to make is this. Every year, they are opening Bagri Dam, NADMO, and back on sensitization. This has gone on since Bagri Dam was actually created. This year, the same sensitization is ongoing. The people will move to higher grounds. When the water level recedes, they are back to the same area, meaning the following year you have another challenge. Is it not possible that when we engage with the chiefs, political authorities, religious and political leaders, we create a buffer around these areas so that when they move out, they have no basis to go back there and have their settlements established. Until we do that, we are not going to go anywhere. In any case, if you are asked to move to higher grounds, it is because there's danger. Why do you run back there again? And then the following year, it is these same people who will cry of neglect.
Let's get an update on the flooding situation in Northeast, because we know 11 lives have already been lost so far following days of the flooding in that area. Eliasu Tanko, our correspondent in that area, joins me via Zoom. Eliasu, first tell us what the situation looks like currently with regards to the floods in that area.
Well, the situation remains the same, even though today there have not been enough rains in the region. But some part of the region, especially the Mampurgu-Maduri area, still have their communities flooded. The farmlands are also flooded as we speak right now. But the situation remains the same. It's not different from what has happened since the beginning of this week.
That NADMO couldn't reach out to some affected communities before because they were cut off. What has become of reliefs to families trapped in these areas?
Well, the NADMO says they have put measures in place to ensure that they are able to extend public services to that particular area. Yesterday, the NADMO, the organization, service in Wale here to have conversation with them on how to extend medical service to those areas that have been cut off. The DC also have been speaking to us, also asking for assistance because apparently some of the roads to those communities have also been destroyed as well. And so NADMO, as we speak, we understand some of them have been able to reach some of these communities, and the situation is not that serious in those communities, but there are others that they are yet to reach. And so they have not been able to reach those people, and they are praying that the water level will subside or the rain will stop coming so that they will be able to reach these people and provide some assistance to them.
Elias Tanko is our man in the Northeast region. We're still monitoring this. We'll bring you more updates in our subsequent bulletins. We'll take a break on the pulse. When we return, we'll be talking about education. We have a conversation also about a library project which one single man is trying to put up for Ghana. He's gathered over 30,000 books. We'll have that conversation. Remember to tweet at us at The Pulse. My personal handle is at Nana Aisha. Just stay with me.
What's up, guys? My name is Sammy Forson, host of the Weekend City Show and Ignition right here on Joy 99.7 FM. Well, anytime you happen to be busy and you miss out on your favorite shows right here on Joy FM, here's what you can do. Log on to myjoyonline.com/podcast. Just go on there and you'll find all your shows on demand 24/7. There you can catch up. Remember, Joy FM remains your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Welcome back to The Pulse. Remember to join the conversation and tweet at us at the hashtag The Pulse. Now, the Complementary Education Agency of the Ministry of Education, formerly the Non-Formal Education Division, is to roll out a new campaign aimed at eliminating illiteracy in the country ahead of the 2030 deadline set under the Sustainable Development Goal. As part of the measures, officials will head out into the communities to look for persons who have either dropped out of school or have not obtained education at all and offer them free education. Sounds interesting already. In the studio to discuss this is Priscilla Awimbe Kusa. She's head of communications at the Complementary Education Agency, Accra Metro, and would also be joined shortly by Samuel Pencil Edubuafo, District Coordinator, Accra Metro Office. I'm grateful that you were able to make it to the studio. Let's start with what has occasioned this.
Okay, good afternoon to your viewers. The ministry realized that when it comes to education, the informal sector is lacking out. So they decided to add an extra tax to the non-formal education, now the Complementary Education Agency, for us to take the mandate of making sure that the non-literate youth or children of school-going age between the ages of 6 to SHS level will get education through the complementary basic education.
You intend to go out all out to look for people who do not have, who are partly educated or not educated at all, and give them the free education. But how do you intend to achieve this? Are you going to be roaming on the streets and calling people? How do you intend to go about this?
Okay, our division has something we call the community entry system, where we enter the communities and talk to the opinion leaders. So we'll do it together with the opinion leaders, the assembly members, the chiefs, and all the people who matter in the community, for them to help us identify these people to be able to roll them in our program.
And so have you started consultations with these opinion leaders and chiefs already? What has been their response to this program?
Okay, yes, we have. And the response has been very positive. We've started identifying those who have not been to school at all and are of school-going age, and those who have been dropped out from the formal school.
Okay, so let's look at when you intend to do this, and then let's also look at where and how you're going to be, dividing the program. For instance, are you going to do region by region? constituency by constituency, district by district? I mean, how are you going to demarcate the exercise?
Okay, we are going to do it all over the country. Non-formal education, now the complementary education agency is everywhere in the country. So every district has been tasked to make sure that they enter into the community and engage the leaders to be able to identify them.
Go ahead.
To be able to identify them and get them educated so that in future, those who are supposed to join the mainstream school will be taken back to GES for them to take care of their needs. And those who are supposed to fall under what we now call the JHS remedials will also be taken through for them to join their colleagues to write the basic education certificate examination.
Let's look at your target areas. I'm looking at age brackets first. I'm looking at what level you want to target. What are your target areas?
Okay, we are looking at kindergarten to SHS.
Okay.
Yes.
Kindergarten to SHS. When are you starting this?
Next month, that's October. And it's a 9-month cycle for every level. We have 3 levels. That's level 1, level 2, level 3. So when we take them through for the 9 months process, after we assess them to see the level in which they fit into, and we push them to GS. So we are liaising with GS. We are not going to do it alone. And it is their curriculum we are using.
Okay. Where are you going to start from? You must have priority areas. Because if you're talking about education, you know that certainly some regions are far ahead than others. So which are your priority areas?
Okay. The rural areas. And even in Accra, we have some areas that people are lacking behind. So I am for the AMA district, and we've started, so it's all over.
All right, Prinsila Awimbe. So once you do this 9 months target, what do you intend to achieve at the end of the day? What's the objective, the goal at the end of the 9 months?
Okay, the goal is to equip them to be able to fit into any level they are supposed to be in. As I said earlier on, we have 3 levels. So when we go into the community, we assess the learners we get and get to know where they fall short, whether they are SHS dropout, JHS dropout, then we know where to place them and take them through the program.
So initially you told me that you've had engagement with opinion leaders, chiefs who are interested in this, but have you also had the opportunity to engage some of the learners you're talking about?
Yes, so far we've had the opportunity to engage some of the learners.
And you've identified those who need help?
Yes, please.
How many so far?
Okay, I don't have the figure now, but we've been able to identify them. And we are still on it.
So you intend to start with how many, or you are just going all out, I mean, across the country? You should have a plan.
Yes, we are going all out across the country.
So next month when you start, what date exactly?
Okay, the date, just from the 1st of October.
1st of October, when you start, we should see your representatives in all 16 regions?
Yes.
That's what's going to happen?
Yes, that's what is going to happen.
All right. We wish you all the best. I'll see you back on this one. Priscilla Wimbe Kusa, she's Head of Communications, Complementary Education Agency, Accra Metro, who's been having this wonderful conversation with us. Let's still talk about education, because the University of Cape Coast has been ranked best university globally for their research influence. It has also been ranked the #1 university in Ghana, the top university in West Africa, and part of the top 5 universities in Africa. Oh my God, why didn't I attend University of Cape Coast? The announcement was contained in the 2022 Times Higher Education annual rankings. Universities that published high impact research on COVID-19 have soared up the league table, with China reaping the most rewards. The 2022 World University Rankings include more than 1,600 universities across 99 countries and territories, making them the largest and most diverse university rankings to date. Richard Kwejonyako has been interacting with the Director of Research, Innovation and Consultancy at the University of Cape Coast, Professor Frederick Atoama, asking him pertinent questions about the feat chalked by the university.
Should be an exciting period for you at the Directorate and the University of Cape Coast.
It is quite exciting for us because we have come a long way. Such an achievement is not something that you do overnight. It takes careful planning. It involves scanning the horizon to look at the issues that are topical for you to engage. It calls for deep thinking to see what your strategy is. So we've come a long way and we are very, very happy. Of course, during the past 60 years, UCC has carved a niche for itself as a university of academic excellence. Yes, so our track record is there, but we needed to cement this by coming on board the ranking for the globe to know that UCC has arrived.
But what went into this particular ranking, and is UCC a new entrant?
Yes, UCC is a debutant. This is the first time the University of Cape Coast is being ranked. In the past, we attempted, but we couldn't get ranked because the entry or eligibility criteria is very stringent. There are 7 concurrent eligibility criteria or exclusion criteria every university must meet before you are ranked. We were able to meet the 6, but the very first criterion we struggled to meet. That means that the first criteria actually talks about publishing 1,000 papers, more than 1,000 papers within a 5-year span, and within each of the 5 years, the threshold publications you should have is 150. And here the operational phrase is relevant publications. And when we say relevant publications, we are talking about papers that are indexed in Elsevier's database called Scopus. So that is what kept us from being ranked. So behind the scenes, we were doing self-introspection to ascertain why we have not been able to get that number of papers to be ranked. And we came out with a number of challenges, and we started looking at addressing those challenges in a systematic manner. So we ask colleagues to redirect their papers to the Scopus Index journals. We ask colleagues to forge partnerships that are impactful. We ask colleagues to also attend conferences, go for workshops and things like that, that will expose them to the research community. And we were organizing training workshops to help colleagues to do research which is globally and regionally significant. So we took steps behind the scenes to ensure that our general management policy that we implemented was explicit, saying that colleagues should desist from publishing in outlets that are not credible. And we took every step to ensure that this was done.
What got you ranked for research impact?
As you are aware, UCC is ranked #1 in Ghana. It is ranked #4 in Africa, and it is also ranked #1 in West Africa. And it has never happened that a debutant will do this. To dislodge the national leader, to dislodge the regional leader, sub-regional leader, and even to place 4th. It's unprecedented and something which is momentous. And I believe that it takes painstaking effort to get to that particular spot. You can't do this overnight. You have to take some steps to get there, and this is what we did. Now, I will say that what we have done is also unique when it comes to the citation impact. That gauges research influence. Research influence. You see, you can publish the research, you can look at the constellation of research partnerships, but you also want to know who is using your research and for what purpose. Because when you do research, the goal is to generate knowledge. The reason why we do research is to generate knowledge. That knowledge must translate into some useful product which is innovative for society. So societal impact is pivotal when it comes to this. And industrial application of the innovations is also very, very important. So what this means is that when we talk about globally, UCC is ranked #1 for research influence. As I said, by this particular metric, we did better than universities like Cambridge, Oxford, Harvard, because we scored perfect on that. We had a perfect score, whereas they had 95, 94, 97, and things like that. So we are ranked number 1 when it comes to research impact. Now, the research process itself is different from the research impact. You can do the research, but if you don't tease out the knowledge that's been produced or elicited from that research for industrial application, then the influence is not going to be known. So how many people are using our research? How many people are applying the knowledge that UCC has generated? This is what we were ranked as number 1 globally. And it is instructive to know that it's unprecedented in the context of the Ghanaian ecosystem.
Wait, so you mean that the University of Oxford University, Cambridge, and all of that, UCC sits on their top now?
Yes, for that metric. You know, there are 5 or so domains. We have research excellence, teaching excellence, research influence, international outlook, industry income. These are the 5 domains, and there are 13 metrics or indicators that are used across these 5 domains. And I'm saying that in one of the domains, which is research impact or research influence, also known as the Field-Weighted Citation Index, we did better than these universities that are the forefront when it comes to the ranking in general. So you have the overall rank, where they do better because we didn't do well in other of domains, but they did better in other. That's why they are ranked higher. But when it comes to research influence, we are not ranked number 1. We did better than they did.
So what does it mean for this country, for the University of Cape Coast, for Ghana, and even the entire sub-region?
So first of all, we have to ask ourselves which research constellations yielded this research influence. So we have to do some data analysis to know which are the notes that are accruing to our benefit in terms of research influence, and hit those notes. And then look at the gaps that are also there and try to really re-engineer the system so that we'll have partnerships that are much more fulfilling or much more impactful for us. Because, I mean, if you are ranked number 1, it means that you are not going to be ranked number 1 forever. There are other universities that are also interested in supplanting you at that particular spot. So it means that you have to also expand what you are doing to make sure that you are responsive to 21st century research challenges and needs. But we as a university must take the time to sit down to look at the notes. I will believe that the kind of partnerships that we have forged. In fact, we did some studies where we partnered with many scholars. For instance, the Global Burden of Disease studies. These are studies that are very research, very strong research focused, and then the impact is very huge. You see, we have a few of our colleagues who are working in that particular domain, and that has accrued to our benefit. I believe that's the collateral benefit that we have derived from that particular engagement. So it's very, very important that we look at it from that particular context, the global burden of disease. Then we also have to sit down and to know which disciplines give us these high rankings, or which disciplines contributed immensely. Of course, it is a collective effort, but the level of contribution to the effort will not be homogeneous across board. It will not be homogeneous across board. Some disciplines will fare better in terms of their contribution to our research impact. We need to identify and isolate those domains and see how we can even help them to do better. And then we look at areas, academic disciplines that we have not fared so well, and how we can prop them up so that broadly we can mount the ladder. Because when it comes to research influence, we have hit the apex. You can't go beyond the 100%. You have a perfect score. So it means that you have to prop up other areas to ensure that you are now moving in a much more comprehensive manner instead of this lopsided manner that we have actually done this year.
It means that your researchers might be doing something that is very unique that got you there.
Yes, they are doing something unique in the type of research funding that they are getting, the type of research partnerships that they are forging. Yeah, we are looking for research partnerships that are forged among teams. In the past 5 years, we said UCC should be moving towards teamed research, from disciplinary perspective to multidisciplinary perspective to interdisciplinary perspective to transdisciplinary perspective. That continuum, we want us to transition there so that if we take, for instance, an issue of climate change, we are looking at the economic dimension of climate change, we are looking at the physical dimension of climate change, we are looking at the meteorological dimension of climate change, we are looking at the environmental impact of climate change. So we are looking at it from a holistic standpoint, which means that a broad host of constituents benefit from this.
It's also been engaging some researchers and students about the rankings.
At the University of Cape Coast, and we want to speak with some of the researchers and students of the university, what they make of the successes chalked by the university in terms of research. Globally, the university with the research influence. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Tell me how excited you are. You are a researcher and you've contributed immensely towards this.
Thank you very much. I don't actually have the word to describe how I feel. I am super excited. I'm overly thrilled about this achievement. Of course, we at UCC, we've always known that we've been doing impactful research. We've always known that the type of research we do and how we disseminate it is so influential in the global space. But this award comes to give a testimony. It's a manifestation of what we've already known or always believed. So to say that I'm excited is just to be generous or to be mild. I am overly excited. I'm thrilled about this announcement. I was telling my colleagues that for the past 24 hours I've had to fight, in quotes, my colleagues who have rather chosen to troll UCC rather than celebrate us. For people like that, many of them, I didn't begrudge them because they didn't understand what was even the Times Higher Education University ranking. They didn't know what it was, so we had to give them some education. But for people who know, in part for our colleagues who are at other universities, at University of Ghana, University of Kwame Nkrumah, University of Science and Technology, they know what the Times Higher Education is about. So for such people, our colleagues, they have not been trolling us, they've rather been congratulating us. So anybody we find that is rather making a fun and mockery of this is somebody who actually needs to be given some tutelage about what is actually the Times Higher Education University rankings and what is the impact of this.
Very, very happy for the achievement of the university. It's a strong message to those outside there that the university is doing its best, training students and teachers and helping the country achieve its maximum goal. Yes, so I'm very happy about the achievement of the university.
What do you tell your colleagues in other universities? I mean, ever since this news broke, what have you been telling other colleagues in other universities?
Oh yeah, it's like we were happy and we were telling them that you see our school is the best in Ghana. But let me say, all the same, all things being equal, there are also good universities too.
Congratulations to the University of Cape Coast for chalking this one. But this afternoon also, I have a conversation with a Ghanaian photographer based in New York who has caught the attention of people on social media through his incredible story and a project he's embarking on. Paul Ninson, he's my guest this afternoon. He now wants to build a library and learning center in Ghana known as Decan, meaning to take the lead, and has so far collected 30,000 books for the project. Paul intends to use the project to provide a rich resource for Ghanaian and African photographers who are unable to access such a wealth of knowledge on the continent. With support from Humans of New York, Paul Ninson has so far raised over $1 million from crowdfunding to fund the project. Thankfully, Paul joins me via Zoom for this conversation. Paul, happy to see you. So very little was known of you before you left Ghana, and today you're making headlines. Tell me briefly about life before you left the shores of Ghana and how you feel about the attention you're getting now.
Thank you so much. I mean, I'm a determined person. When I started photography, I wanted to tell stories of Africa. I wanted to tell stories of Ghana. Fortunately enough, I come from a home where it was all about storytelling. And so when I had the opportunities, I was knocking every door possibly as I can, but, it wasn't working much. So when I had the opportunity, I met Brandon Stanton in University of Ghana. He helped me. I came to New York for school, and it felt different, being at home and being away. When I came here, I knew that I have a privilege. Mine is different. So always it was a constant reminder that how do I help other Ghanaians? I struggled a lot, to be honest with you. It was a difficult route to become a photographer. So how do I release people of that same struggle of just wanting to tell your story? And so that was the brain behind it. And this is going to be really big. I mean, yeah, the money is good. We raised the money, but this is just the beginning to something bigger. which is yet to come. And I'm just a photographer with a vision. I'm open to everyone. I'm open to support and everything. We all can do this. It's not just me. It's not just about my family. None of the money comes to my pocket. Everything I've designed in such a way that it goes into support the library and support everyone, every Ghanaian. Everyone has the chance. And photography it shouldn't be a rocket science. It's supposed to be just a simple thing, just like the pencil. Everyone has access to it, whether rich or poor. And that is my vision.
I read a story from Humans of New York, and it appears you've also had to deal with some racism as well.
Yes. What can you do? You're in someone's land. It comes with it. And so for me, that's the reason why I said that I don't want anybody to come here. If you want to come here, fine, for various reasons. But if it's photography, I think that we can do that in Ghana. I think we can tell stories of Ghana and Africa our own way, not somebody's dictating for us and somebody directing what the narrative should be. I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of people are ignorant what Africa is. A lot of people are ignorant what my lovely country is. So I think my responsibility is that I want to build a community. I want to help other people. I want to do everything possible to help others to tell their story. So I basically do not want mostly wanted to focus much on racism and other things, because for me it's like taking the negative and turning it into something positive. And that is what I just did, and that motivated me more than anything else.
And that's the spirit, bro. I was looking forward to seeing your daughter around. Where's she? Because I see that you share some bond together.
I love my daughter. I love her. She is everything. I've been away from her for 2 years, and I just can't wait to be with her. And she's around. She's in Kumasi currently on vacation, and we talk almost every day. And I just miss her so much. And again, for me, I don't mostly dwell on some of those things. These are some of the things that motivate me to work hard, to push the boundaries, to push the narrative, and I know that one day she will look back and know the sacrifice of his father and what it could do to other people. And that's what I always talk to her about, to help others and to not make it all about you. And yeah, so she's there. She's very smart, and I'm grateful for my mother for the help. I'm grateful for her mother for giving me a daughter. I did not carry the baby for 9 months. She did. And I'm grateful, and I'll forever be grateful for her.
All right, Paul, let's talk about the Decan project. And I put it at, the 3 W's. What has been the inspirations? What has been the response? And where are we now?
Yeah, so Decan, I purposely picked the name because always, everyone has its own complaints. I see, videos flying around talking about New York, talking about skyscrapers, talking about other things. And I'm looking back and I'm like, yeah, so somebody has to take the lead. We can talk all day long. We can complain all day long. But I think that Ghanaians are resilient. Ghanaians are resourceful. I've seen many Ghanaians in the US, New York, and, we can do this. It's our country. It's my home. There's no place I want to be. This is my home. This is my place. So how can we fix this? How can we help? How can we bring things together to make my country better? So for me, I don't concentrate at all in negativity. I'm always trying to look at the positive side. How can I pick something? My dad taught me that, always solve a problem, always fix things, always, so Decan right now, we've raised $1.2 million US. Brandon has been very helpful to me since I've been in New York. He sponsored my school and everything. And this is going to be really big. I'm looking for anyone who want to help, anyone who want to come on board. It's not about me. I'm just the guy with the vision. I'm just the guy with the privilege to be able to do this. So I've been doing this, collecting photo books all around New York, North Carolina, buying them. Actually, I bought a lot of African photo books because I think that A lot of Ghanaians need to know their history, pictures and everything. So yeah, it's going to be big. It's going to have a gallery. It's going to have classrooms. It's going to have media center. It's going to have studios. Is going to have the biggest library collections in Africa. And the goal is not just Accra or building it at a particular place. The goal is to spread around Ghana. The goal is to spread around Africa. You know, I grew up without television, you know, but then I watched some National Geographic documentaries, and I knew that this is what I want to do when I grow up. So if we're able to inspire young generation to have something to vision that this is what I want to be, you know, I think that will be very transformative, and I think that is my goal, to help every Ghanaian, rich or poor, wherever the person is, if the person is willing to learn the art of photography, to tell his own story. You know, I just love my country. I love my culture. I would never trade that for anything else.
So 30,000 books. I mean, great job there so far. It hasn't been easy gathering them, right?
No, at all. I mean, you know, it's a sacrifice. I know what I knew that these books I'm gathering is not just for me and my family. It's going to be for other people. It's going to help other young Ghanaians. So it's expensive. I'll be honest with you. You know, sometimes I use people to help. You know, I broke my back twice. I'm still having back pain. New York is expensive. If you get an Uber ride, that is alone is $70. You get someone to move 30 boxes of books for you, alone is $400. You know, so whilst I was working with Brandon, all the money I'm getting, I'm saving them to buy books. I've been working hard here, photography, filmmaking. So everything I get is just to buy books and ship them. Shipping is expensive. It's really expensive. You know, and I don't want to turn my back. You know, I just want to go and keep going and be able to send all the books to Ghana.
Sorry for your back pain, but if I want to support this laudable project, what do I do?
Yeah, so everyone knows me, knows that I'm a simple, open, friendly person. I have Instagram, I have Facebook, I have an email, I have a website. It's called decan.org. You can just send us an email. I'm very open for conversations. I'm open to people helping me in every way, because it's a non-profit. It's not for me. I'm not getting anything out of it. So anyone who want to help, we have a website. I have a personal email. As soon as you type my name, my website will come up, and you know, you can send me an email. You can reach out. We're building a team in Ghana currently. This is going to be really big. I'm having conversations here in US or people who want to help. So I'm looking for Ghanaians who also willing to help and collaborate and partner with me. I'm open. This is not about me at all. I'm just open to anyone who want to help.
Oh, Nelson, I wish you all the best in all of this. You want to share any, last words with the public?
All I can say is that I'm coming home. And I just want to thank everybody, the love, the support, my family, my mother. I love her so much. I don't know where I'll be without her. And just my family, you know, and everybody who out there really want to help. Let's roll our sleeves and all get to this together and build something meaningful for ourselves and for Africa. And yeah, that's all.
When are you coming? So maybe we can give you a rousing welcome.
I'll communicate that. I'm still working to raise, because I have to raise more money. You know, the 1 million is the beginning. I have to, because the building is not going to cost 1 million. It's more than that. You know, we need to buy land. You know, wherever we want to buy it, it's expensive. You know, if anybody want to give me a piece of land, yeah, I'll take it, but I need to raise money before I come back to Ghana.
All the best for this good cause. Paul Nelson, he's a Ghanaian photographer based in the US, and he's doing something wonderful. He says if you want to support, reach him out at decan.org. So if you support the growth of the young ones and you want education to be key in our development, you want to support this young man. And we'll take a break on The Pulse. Remember to tweet at us at the hashtag The Pulse. We are back shortly.
Hi, this is Lexus Bill, host of Drive Time on Joy 99.7 FM. Listen, you don't have to worry if you miss Drive Time or Personality Profile. It's going to be live on our podcast page. Just log on to www.myjoyonline.com/podcast. You can listen to Drive Time, Personality Profile, and any other of your favorite shows on Joy FM on that page. You don't have to miss a show at all. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Welcome back to the Pulse. To the rest of our conversation, the minority in Parliament is readying itself for a battle with government over the proposed establishment of the Ghana Development Bank. The group has served notice it will not accept any public resources dedicated to the setting up of a bank, describing ongoing recruitment processes as shrouded in secrecy. JoyNews is learning government in the 2021 budget allocated 300 million cedis as seed money for the bank, which is yet to take off. Again, government has decided it will not seek parliamentary approval for the setting up of the bank, but will rather use the Registrar General's Department for the necessary approvals. Minority Leader Harun Idrisa tells JoyNews government is only running away from parliamentary accountability and scrutiny. He warns his side will not support any appropriation to the bank until Parliament has an input into its establishment.
A national development bank, in principle, can be established publicly or privately, and it can be by legislation or through the Registrar General Department, as we are hearing. But it appears to me that on the matter of the National Development Bank, Ken Ofori-Atta, the Minister of Finance, is simply running away from parliamentary scrutiny and parliamentary accountability.
Why do you say that?
The primary question to ask is whether or not this bank is being funded with taxpayers' money and public money or not. I'm aware that some COVID resources of up to 300 million Ghana cedis in the 2020-2021 review budget have been allocated for the establishment of the National Development Bank. We in the minority are opposed to even the concept of a new National Development Bank. If you have funding, adequately capitalize and finance the existing banks to make them more viable in order that they can invest and provide credit to the private sector. The economic wing of the private sector, as I've always said and maintained, is access to credit and the cost of credit. Now, you don't want public or civil servants to play any role. As I heard Klegok, an official of the Ministry of Finance, speaking at ISA. Now, you cannot run a national development bank as if that was an extension of a data bank. I mean, somewhere, quite clearly, that is legally untenable.
But the reason
you should know further that the Agri Development Bank was established in 1965 by an Act of Parliament, Act 286. The Ghana Exim Bank, which was established under the NDC to support export financing, was established in 2016 by Act 911. The National Investment Bank was established in 1963 by Act 163. So what best practice? Now, given our own experience and the contemporaneous issues of a financial sector clean-up, this is even when you need Parliament to regulate what the object of the bank will be, to regulate what the functions of the bank will be, so that they don't engage in fiscal irresponsible acts and that they don't engage and dole out money as bad investment. You can only regulate that by law. So it's kind of defeatist for me, for the Ministry of Finance to want to establish this National Development Bank without recourse to Parliament. But will they come for Parliament to provide funding for it? What will be the basis for Parliament approving money for such a bank? Already it means that the 300 million allocation is clearly illegal. You must have a legitimate lawful institution that Parliament can appropriate for. So I find the arguments of the Minister of Finance and his representative bizarre, and I'm saying that let's learn from our experiences that many of these banks have not lived up to expectation. We need legislation to strengthen the focus of the banks by way of defining their objects, by way of determining their functions, and more importantly, to direct that they engage in prudent capital investment.
The Deputy Finance Minister, John Kuma, has however been responding to the concerns raised.
It is not true that the Finance Minister has not been to Parliament. In the 2021 budget, it was part of the budget that a seed fund of about 300 million cedis was made available. So all these, every time the Finance Minister has been to Parliament, he has informed Parliament. So it's a question of route. Are you seeking to set it up by an act of Parliament, as in legislation? That is different from not going to Parliament.
The Childhood Cancer Society of Ghana is pushing for the inclusion of childhood cancer treatment in the list of ailments captured under the National Health Insurance Scheme. It is part of measures the society is rolling out to help address what it says is the fast rising cases of cancers among children. There's been a consistent rise in the number of children battling cancer around the world. The situation is not different in Ghana, where at least 1,200 children are diagnosed with a condition every year. The situation may even be worse, as the Childhood Cancer Society of Ghana projects that many more children with that condition are not even diagnosed.
Who do not know about it, and hear ye, it's not just the people as lay people, but even at the healthcare treatment center, personnel do not know about childhood cancers. And that is our greatest gap for me now. Because you can preach and preach and preach and say, let them come early, let them come early. They must come early to a means of getting diagnosed. And if we do not know about it, they can come all early that we want. I'll prove it to you that it will not work. All right? Treatment abandonment rates expressed by the NHI was high out-of-pocket expenditure. I always say nobody alone, and no matter how rich, people have sold their farms, their cocoa farms. People have sold their houses. Other kids have stopped attending school because one child was diagnosed with cancer and later the child died. May I add, miserable. But pediatric emergency units, that is the first point of call for children who are sick. And just try to find out those who died there at that first point of call, what did they die from? The number 4 was aborting death. Very interesting. Highest cause of number 4, aborting death. But I've settled the cancers. So about 14 of them, which is almost half of number 4 or so, probably had cancer that they never got diagnosed. This is a tertiary institution. So they got to the care and immediately died, or something happened. We never got to a diagnosis and died.
29-year-old Prince Nyamade was diagnosed with leukemia at the age of 11 and struggled with it for 8 years until he was finally cured, and that was at a great cost to his family.
I'm Prince Nyamade. I'm a biomedical scientist by profession, and I'm a leukemia survivor. So I was diagnosed with leukemia at the age of 11 at the Koliboot teaching hospital. But before then, you know, leukemia has some signs and symptoms just like any other conditions that we know of, like headache, like fatigue, like loss of appetite and all that. So before my diagnosis, you know, I had, I didn't know, so we were treating malaria with anti-malaria drugs and all that. And before, I wasn't feeling too good again after all those treatments, so I was referred to Koliboot, and then I was diagnosed with acute leukemia. That was at age 11, as I already said. From there, you know, we all know in Ghana it's very costly to treat childhood cancers. So what happened was that after I was diagnosed, I was lucky to have my parents because they were willing to spend every kobo on me to make sure that I'm being cured of cancer. And so what they did was that, yes, there were some properties that were being sold because of the treatment and all that. But, with perseverance and with some commitment from my parents, I went through the treatment successfully and I'm now a survivor.
At the first annual general meeting of the Childhood Cancer Society of Ghana, First Lady Rebecca Akufo-Addo expressed concern about the high rate of the condition among children and called for action.
I can say is that your work is cut out for you. You have a leading role as practitioners and advocates to ensure our children are able to access effective, quality, life-saving care anywhere in Ghana. Your vision of cure for all children affected by cancer in Ghana is a charge to make a difference in the outcomes for Ghanaian children. Our children need you. Our policymakers need you. Indeed, Ghana needs you. I am happy to note that your members include medical professionals, psychologists, nutritionists, social workers, teachers, even chaplains and imams. This represents the multidisciplinary teams that are required to deliver holistic quality care to children affected by cancer.
The Ghana Health Service believes early detection would go a long way to help increase the survival rate.
On the presentation, we've realized that early treatment, early diagnosis is extremely important. If we don't know what is there, we will never be able to treat. Dr. Seti's presentation showed us all the various entry points, and so all our strategies should look at our health-seeking behavior. Where do they go to? The chemical shops. And it's true, they come to us. And unfortunately also for us, even though we want to look at the primary level care, because of the way the services are rendered, we still have a significant.
The Accra Golden Club of the Lion Clubs International has provided a new shelter for the Koliboot Diabetic Center in Accra. The new shelter is supposed to help patients and medical staff at the center who hitherto were under a dilapidated tent. JoyNews spoke to the head of the Diabetic Center at Koliboot and the chairman of the Golden Club.
We were relocated to a temporary, temporal structure here at the social center. We were told for a couple of months, and so this is where we have been. Unfortunately, the space we were given wasn't big enough to accommodate all our patients, when they arrived here. And thankfully, the Lions Club came and introduced themselves so that they wanted to help us do something for the patients. And so immediately we told them that we required a small shed, it needed not be anything fancy, something simple, just to protect us from rain and sun and the elements. Within a couple of weeks, they put up this structure, and we are particularly impressed with the speed of work and what they've done. And we know that, and they've promised that even in the new center, they are going to collaborate and help us furnish, and refurbish the place up to standard. And so we are really, really grateful to Lions Golden Club for what they've done for the center.
Accra Golden Club is one of the Lions clubs in Ghana. And as part of Lions, or as an international humanitarian service organization, we have a series of activities that we do during the course of the year. And diabetic is one key activity. We create awareness, and we also do screening. So for instance, there are festivals like the Mayen Festival, the Adigbo Osudoku Jehayen Festival, that Lions clubs and Lions from Accra Golden especially would go to these debug grounds and screen at random. And when we find out that there are anybody who is positive, then the health officials will take care of it. The reason for coming here this morning is that there was a call, an SOS call from Dr. Yakuba Atiase and the team that they were having their outpatient clinic under a canopy. And in view of that, it was a challenge for them. And since the rains were setting in, they didn't know how to manage the situation. So they brought the issues to the board of directors of the club. We analyzed it and we realized that it is something, it's a need, an immediate need at the Diabetic Center and needs an urgent attention. So quickly we marshaled resources as a club and got support from others, and we decided to put up this shed just to house patients who are coming for clinic. So that is exactly what we did. And you could hear from Dr. Tiase and saying that a lot of people have come to support, but it hasn't, but they've realized that we said it and we've done.
Let's take a break on the pulse. When we return, there is sports. Do stay tuned.
Hello, my name is Evans Mensah, and you can relive all the fun and excitement on Top Story, Newsnight, and of course, Ghana Connect via podcast. All you need to do is to log on to my Joy Online/podcast. Search for your favorite show and relive the moment. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on The Pulse with me, Ray Kwampofo. It's a big day for Ghana football. That's because the Black Stars are in action tonight as they open their campaign with a game against Ethiopia at 7 p.m. tonight at the Cape Coast Stadium. And that is the 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifier. Remember, Ghana was not present in 2018, so the big task is to qualify and return to the big stage. And the lineup is in, and we'll be looking at the analysis of that quite shortly. And let me just run you through the players from CK starting 11 against Ethiopia. Richard Ofori returns to goal after missing out on the last international friendly games. And then Daniel Mate partners Jiku, Baba Rahman, and Andy Adam would be the fullbacks. Mubarak Wakaso, Baba Idrisu, Andre Ayew would form a midfield three. And as a front three, a rather unfamiliar one with Jeffrey Schlupp, Kamaldeen Sulemana, who recently joined Rennes in Liga, and then a very familiar face in Jordan Ayew. Joining me in studio is Mubarak Haruna from the Joy Sports team. And Mubarak, it's a pleasure to have you. First off, when you look at this starting 11, where do you see a weakness?
I think it's clear that we are having a problem in the attack because for the defense, we've been quite solid. The midfield has been okay, but the attack, we've played the last two friendlies without scoring. Even when it goes back to our Africa Cup of Nations in 2019, we scored just 4 goals in 4 games. And virtually it's the same partnership, Andre Ayew and Jordan Ayew up front. And that has absolutely not helped us.
But the two of them have actually, linked up pretty well, especially if you remember CK's early days. Ghana won against Qatar 5-1. And in that match, we saw a 4-4-2 formation with the two brothers playing up top. Do you have that feeling that maybe Kamaldeen and then Schlupp might end up going into midfield and then Andre Ayew and Jordan play up top, making it more of a 4-4-2 formation?
Well, I believe so. And that is the only way that can ensure that these players flourish on the field of play. Now, you look at Jeffrey Schlupp and Kamaldeen, what they have in common is pace. They are energetic, they are pacey. They can go back and defend, they can attack as well. And with they having Andre Ayew and Jordan Ayew up front, I feel when they have the ball, they could attack and they could send more crosses into the 18-yard box for these two guys to finish.
Let's talk about this guy, Jeffrey Schlupp. It's been a while since we saw him in national football. On club level, he's not really used as a winger. He's played more in a central position. What do you think is the idea behind CK playing, Schlupp in a wing position? Is this something that we could see change into, Schlupp dropping into midfield and Andre coming to the wide right position? Or what do you think CK is trying to achieve here?
Look, Schlupp has been on the periphery at club level this season. But here's the case. He is currently starting for Ghana against Ethiopia. I think the reason behind it is we don't really have a natural right winger in our team. I don't know, but we don't have it. Andre Ayew is not a typical right winger. His days nowadays, he does not have legs anymore, if I should put it that way. He's not pacey, he's not really energetic as compared to the Andre Ayew we know 5 years ago. So we need someone who is quite energetic, who can track back, who is versatile as well. And for me, I think that's the reason why Jeffrey Schlupp is in there.
Quite quickly, just a word on the midfield partnership. We've seen Baba Idrisu partner Lomote, and that didn't go so well. Do you think Wakaso is the man who will bring the best out of Baba?
Baba has established himself as a natural defensive midfielder in the Black Stars team. He needs someone that more or less a ball progressor, a ball controller. Wakaso, I feel he's lacking a bit. I feel if Thomas Partey were to be in there, it would have been a perfect partnership. Wakaso, I still feel this midfield is a bit rigid.
Prediction before we go?
This is Ethiopia. The last time we met them, we won by 5-0 at the Kumasi Stadium. And this is the World Cup qualifier. We need to start on a good note, especially after South Africa drew Zimbabwe. We have to win because our next game is against South Africa. And we believe that they are the strongest team in that group. So we have to win. I feel we should have enough to beat them by 2-0.
2-0. Who do you see scoring here?
Jordan has not scored this season. Andre, he has scored for Ghana this year. So I believe Andre and then Kamaldeen will be on the score sheet.
What a moment that would be if Kamaldeen is to grab a goal on his first start for the Black Stars. But that was Mubarak Haruna of the Joy Sports team helping me break down Ghana's lineup as they face Ethiopia. Remember, there'll be live commentary of that game on Joy 99.7 FM at 7 p.m. But then build-up starts at 6:30 p.m. My name is Oreko Wampofo, and that's the sports for now.
Hello, I'm Dori Nando. You can catch up with all the fun on the Cosmopolitan Mix and on all our shows via podcast. Just go to My Joy Online podcast and search for your favorite show and relive those moments all over again. Only on Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
And that's where we draw the curtains on the Pulse this afternoon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. You have updates of all the developing stories. My beautiful dress was made by Milike Garments. Visit them on the Dakuma Nyamiche Highway. I'll also call them 0540402776. Up next is Let's Talk Showbiz. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.
Let's talk showbiz.
What would you want to say about it in terms of concept-wise?
The storyline, in terms of, I don't know, like, if I'm being honest, that there was some part of the storyline that maybe I wasn't seeing connection, but then I think altogether we got what they were trying to say, yeah.
Good evening, ladies and
My experience with it is actually a nice program. I enjoyed the program from the start to finish. And I think the characters play their roles very well. And I think it's very nice.
Its anonymous origin tickles me a bit. But Papa, this is whiskey, a hell of a brand. Hell is where you will find yourself if you don't stop drinking. Papa, this is whiskey. Where was whiskey when we felled the great palm tree and extracted the sweet, succulent palm wine? Follow its sweetness, and you end up walking on the street like Kofi Kinata said, small boys are young. Have you ever heard of palm wine music or good old high life music? Should I? Not at all. I don't expect you to. Because you, my dear son, were in my scrotum by then.
I really did enjoy myself. I really did. I really enjoyed every bit of it. Yes, I did. It was good.
Which part did you enjoy most?
So my favorite character is Aku.
Okay.
Yes, she was very funny. And then the music bit of it.
Oh! I am exhausted. Human beings has 10 bees. Well, you can't below. Why is this all place messing up? Do you think? Hey.
Where that you go, so running to you.
Oh, did you enjoy it?
I did.
Okay,
I did.
tell me about it. What lesson did you take from this play?
Well, I think my daughter was asking me, so what killed the man? And I told her, women will kill your business. The man was saved. But women will kill your business.
Yeah.
And what will kill a woman is money.
I think since Latif started writing this, we've been coming all the time. But this is an incredible one because there's a lot of lessons to be learned here. And it's not all about the fun. It's about learning to cope with people. It's about learning to, have a very good team, both at home, workplace, and when you're able to have the right team skills, I'm sure whatever you put your head to, you'll succeed in life.
We have a young genius here among us for sure, and when we talked about this a few months ago, it took us very, very little time to know that this was of course the way to go forward, and a partnership which hopefully will continue for years to come. On a rainy Thursday night with 1,000 people in attendance is enough to talk. So and with the cast, the professionalism, the messages that was in the play today, which had engaged all the senses that we have, is something that we simply must be part of. The Diabetic Hotel is an indigenous institution that really believe in Ghanaian talent, of which there is an abundance of, and tonight was certainly no disappointment, that's for sure.
Okay, so let me take your mind into the play itself. You're a patron, so I'll put it in the patron and then the owner as well, two things.
Sure.
Tell me about the play and what you saw. Which character did you like?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot on how to point one out. I don't think I can do that. I think they were all extraordinarily good. But I think the point was made today was that teamwork is something that is super important in today's world. We live in a new dawn, and we're living with this funny thing called COVID-19, and it's not a single person that can overcome these things. This has to be done as a team. So I think today's message was that the teamwork through communication, through humor, through a pinch of seriousness as well, will get the best out of people. And I think that was so eloquently displayed today. So I will bring that to my managers tomorrow as well.
I will be 70 soon, and I want a way to celebrate it.
Yes. You see, this is what we should be talking about. How to celebrate your 70th birthday. It will be in all the news outlets. Facebook will be there, Twitter will be there.
Hey, hold on. I may not be that abreast with modern day technology, but you cannot fool me. Facebook and Twitter will be where? Do they have legs?
You will be live. Facebook live.
Oh, you mean I'm trending live?
You'll be trending.
You should have said that. Now I understand.
Congratulations to you and the team.
Thank you so much.
Great stuff. You told me that you're going to wow us.
Yeah.
You told me that we should just come and learn.
Yeah.
And I've learned a lot.
Thank you.
Is it intentional that you put so much into it in terms of concepts that you put out there?
Yeah, it's intentional. I think that we want people to understand that theater is actually one of the ways to go, if not the way to go, when it comes to educating people, when it comes to reflecting our society, and then when it comes to entertaining people. Theater actually is the way to go. The audience psyche, I keep saying, is very low when it comes to theater. People don't even know what theater is about, and it's amazing. You go to sell a theater product and someone is asking, what is it? How does it look like? It's so annoying sometimes, if I may say. So I'm extremely excited that this time around I partnered with Labadi Beach Hotel and Joy Entertainment, and then we were able to drive numbers to this place. The amazing thing is that even on a Thursday, a rainy Thursday, the place was packed. It tells you a lot that efforts and then hard work has actually been put into it.
I've seen auditorium, plays, National Theatre and all that.